places import restrictions on cargo from Dominica in an attempt to keep Zika out. Dominica's next police chief could be a non-national, and the Justin Paddy Medical Center selected for a Best Hospital Award. I'm going to come back with the Channel 5 News details. We begin with this story concerning shipments from Dominica to China, which have been put on an import restriction list as China takes preventive action against the Zika virus. Dominica has recently been included on an updated list of countries from which all cargo entering China must be subjected to anti-mosquito treatment. The Chinese quarantine authorities say they require a mosquito eradication certificate for vessels from Zika-affected countries. The types of cargo are unclear, however. This is coming from an advisory by a German shipping company, Hapag-Lloyd, based on an announcement from the Chinese General Administration of Quality Supervision, Inspection and Quarantine. It has advised that the receiver of the shipment should inform the shipper at the port of origin to provide a certificate proof of treatment before loading. Inbound shipments without proof of anti-mosquito treatment will be fumigated at the port of discharge in China by the authorities without prior notice. The advisory also warns that the carrier is not involved in this procedure and all relevant costs as a result of required measures by the authorities shall be borne by the customer. Comptroller of Customs Roderick Deja has informed Channel 5 News that Dominica does not export commodities to China. He says, however, the imports mainly come from China. It could mean that this relates to personnel shipments from Dominica to China. The National Pest and Termite Control is responsible for fumigating cargo at the port, while the Environmental Health Department oversees the activity.
This is something that we do fumigation, so if it's something that is needed to be done, this is something that can be done because we have the ability to do fumigation for goods going out. So the EHD give advice. We do not physically do the fumigation, but we would supervise the fumigation and we would give advice on whether fumigation is the best thing for whatever the product is, because according to the product, you might not be able to fumigate.
Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Martin, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are other newly added Caribbean countries on China's list. Among the other top stories, Dominica's next police chief could be a foreign national. As far as we know, no decision to replace the current police chief has been formally announced, but statements by the Minister for National Security this week have more than hinted that this could be a very real possibility. It appears the Minister for National Security is not satisfied with the level of policing in the country based on his statements on DBS's Talking Point on Monday.
The fundamental obligation of the police is to prevent crime, is to be proactive. And you can only be proactive by way of a presence on the streets in Roseau, on the streets in Bath Estate, in Emsall, and throughout the various localities in our districts of the country.
Blackmore says policing is a 24-hour undertaking and the public deserves more. He places that responsibility squarely at the feet of the police chief and his deputy.
And we are not ruling out making some changes from the top, which may include bringing in somebody from overseas. Because the people of Dominica has to get their money's worth.
Why is that necessary?
Because at the end of the day, it cannot be, I cannot run the police force, neither the Prime Minister or the Permanent Secretary. It's the people who have the mandate. And the police department cannot be an entity in and of itself. The police department in any country, especially in a civilized society and a democratic society, belongs to the people. And why do I say that? It's the people who vote for government.
Blackmore stressed that the people who put their trust in the government are depending on that government to provide some basic services.
People have to get a sense that they're safe in the country. You see? And we have seen some improvement, but we want to see further improvement. And we don't have much more time to do that. I think we have spoken a lot I mean, I want to really express my gratitude to the Prime Minister. Whenever a request is being made, if it entails finance, almost immediately the money is made available. Having additional vehicles, improvement to the accommodation, having endless students by themselves are not adequate, will not work unless we have folks with the right spirit.
The minister says government cannot continue getting excuses for not having uniforms, especially around the city of Roseau. On to education now, where the Honorable Minister Peter Seja has voiced his views on recent statements made by President of the Dominica Association of Teachers, Celia Nicholas. Nicholas on numerous occasions called on the minister to speed up the process of appointing trained and qualified teachers. However, the minister says that action is out of his control.
Let me say that the whole issue of appointment of teachers and more so engagement of teachers is not one that falls within the remit, the domain of the Minister for Education. No minister is involved in at any time or has been involved at any time in the recruitment of staff. This is a purely administrative issue that is left solely in the hands of the permanent secretary in any ministry and that of the chief personnel officer and the department. It is a matter for this department, not for any minister of education.
Seja pointed out that, as is customary in the public service, end-of-year reviews do help in assigning people to various positions.
We agree as cabinet that within the various ministries and the departments, that individuals who perform must be rewarded. And there has to be, and when we have rewards for performance, so that whether it be teachers or functionaries in the Ministry of Public Works or the Ministry of Agriculture, that at the expiration of the year, when the records are looked at, if there are vacancies within that department, we would expect that the individuals who have demonstrated their ability to work and to do things, demonstrated a consciousness that here national development takes first place, that these individuals of course would be appointed in the positions that are available if vacant.
The Honorable Minister, while agreeing that teaching needs to be made attractive to retain teachers, says the ministry is considerate where the issue of remuneration is concerned.
The issue of remuneration for workers, whether in the public or private sector, is of paramount importance. Of course, every individual wants to know that when he or she has worked, that he can take home a pay that is satisfactory. And for the teaching service, and of course I having come from the rank and file of the teaching service, I believe that of course teaching has to be made attractive if we are to retain the quality of teachers that we would require to develop the young minds of this country. But I would be very quick to add that over the years we have seen tremendous progress being made as far as remuneration of our teachers is concerned.
In other news now, a clear and defined vision of the country is the top recommendation for Dominica's tourism sector. More in this report.
That suggestion is coming from the National Reconstruction Task Force appointed by Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit following Tropical Storm Erica last year. Chairman of the task force told Channel 5 News that once Dominica's image is clearly defined, it would attract more tourists to the country.
So as a first and perhaps the most important starting point, a recommendation, we as a task force have said the country needs to develop a vision of the country and of tourism. What is it we want and where it is we want to go? And we went further as to actually suggest what such a vision might be.
The setting up of a special tourism authority to expedite the tourism master plan was also a suggestion of the task force.
Importantly too, there has been a tourism master plan which was developed for 2013 to 2022, and not much has been done on that. So we are urging that a special tourism authority be developed with responsibility for implementation. In fact, the consultants who developed the tourism master plan themselves recognize that a special unit would be required for implementation.
While concern has been raised over air access into the country, the task force believes that better use can be made of already existing hubs to help in that regard.
Air access remains a problem, and one suggestion and one recommendation is to examine the feasibility of Air Dominica. And that is not going to solve all the problems, but we believe, given the focus nowadays on the use of hubs, perhaps if we have the kind of carrying capacity that we can rely on, we could have seamless arrangements at the major hubs to take people into Dominica. And that is important for us because while we have had, at its highest, some 500,000 cruise passengers, our stayovers, where the country really benefits and makes money, still remains at 80 and 90,000.
Earlier this month, the government signed a contract for a $15 million loan facility at the Aid Bank for use by tourism stakeholders. While commending this move, the task force chairman is of the view that more money needs to be made available to the sector in order to have the desired impact on the country's economy.
That recommendation did not originate from the task force, it came from the DHTA, but they had said a fund of 15 million. Our view is that in itself is not enough, so we endorse that recommendation, but we are saying a much larger amount is required if you are to really propel the industry forward. And the small businesses in tourism, like in other sectors, have peculiar needs. And for a long time, there has been discussion about a Small Business Act. We suggested perhaps it is time that the Small Business Act be passed to look at the particular needs of small business within the tourism sector as well.
A redefinition of the mandate for the Ministry of Tourism was also among the suggestions for a more efficient tourism industry. Andrea Levy, Channel 5 News.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, Haitian businessman sets up foundation for children orphaned by the 20% earthquake, which killed over 300,000 people. That and more when we return. Thanks for staying with us. As quality healthcare becomes more desirable, a private healthcare provider is advocating for international standards to be met in the healthcare arena, irrespective of the challenges. Nigerian Dr. Fadipe's comments come as his medical center based at Meru has been selected for an international award in the Best Hospital category by the UK-based Council of the International Socrates Committee. He told Channel 5 News although he operates a small hospital, he impresses on his staff to maintain standards.
The news of the award came to me very surprising. First, I don't know these organizations, and you sort of get surprised that way out in Dominica, somebody's watching. Yes, I'm excited, and I'm very happy, but I said, oh my God, how did they get to know about us? I mean, it's quite encouraging, but it also imposes on us an obligation to have to continue to work, realizing that somebody's watching you, even when you don't see them.
A team of recruited professionals from companies worldwide conducted the preliminary judging. He'll receive the award in France during a European Awards night in October. 16 years ago, Fadipe branched out of the public system and has been managing his own hospital.
To deliver the healthcare, we must be able to forecast to the patient, I'm going to remove your gallbladder, and you will be home in 24 hours or 48 hours. And we have to stick to that standard. Not allow 24, 48 hours to turn to 1 week or 2 weeks, and the patient is still there complaining of pain, abscess, infection, and all those things. Now, these look like simple things, but they reduce the burden of medical management. When patients come here to me, I could see how there's been a waste of time in the way they're managed. I could see how they've been given run around in their management. I could see how they've been given the impression certain things are impossible, when the so-called impossibility has to do with lack of experience and lack of skill. And when I see them, sometimes I want to cry. My staff will tell you this, and sometimes I'm annoyed.
He acknowledges the ever-increasing cost of medical care.
That's a problem that President Obama is facing. Most of the politicians in the Western world are facing this problem. Therefore, how can doctors, by using their skills, do so much with so little, without compromising the quality? It requires creativity. It requires re-examining your methods all the time. It requires not wasting too much resources to get to a diagnosis, in which you have to do about 20 tests to come to a diagnosis, when experience and knowledge can make you come to that diagnosis with just one test. It requires performing your surgery in such a way the patient is not lying down on the bed wasting time, because the quality of your surgery prolongs recovery time.
Businessman and owner of King Garments, Petit Louis Axeus, has established a foundation in Haiti to care for orphans whose parents were killed in the 2010 earthquake. That magnitude 7.0 earthquake killed over 200,000 people, leaving 300,000 injured. Axeus set up the foundation during a recent visit to Haiti, his native country.
And I remember in Dominica where I saw a program is development. We talk about development. I remember the Yes We Care program in Dominica is a program where take care about elderly people. And they have some children, when the school open, they have a place to go where they can get assistance and to buy school uniform, all those things. But I said, why not? We could not have something like that in Haiti.
Axeus met with politicians, lawyers, doctors, and school principals in order to set up the foundation.
That's why I would like to send a message for the Asian living in Dominica. The same thing, I went to Haiti, I set up something to help the others. I think so, if every Asian living out of state can do something for Haiti, that will be good.
Axeus has thanked Dominicans for supporting his business, making it possible for him to help the needy here and back in Haiti.
We at King's Garments, we make a big contribution too, because when you pay social security for Dominican people, for Asian people, for whatever working with the company, and we pay VAT, so that means we make a big contribution to this country.
While in Haiti, Axeus received an award in appreciation for his work in the clothing industry, specifically pattern making. And with $3.6 million needed to complete the cathedral, Bishop Gabriel Malzer has told Channel 5 News he expects the project to be completed by mid-2018. In an effort to raise additional funds, the fundraising committee hosted a family fun day on Sunday, which the bishop says was a success.
I would say that the success will be maybe on two levels. We hope that we have raised some funds, but the other part of it is the fact that a community came together to socialize. And I think it's a very, very important dimension of a Christian community. It's a pity that we have less of these for the last few years. In fact, since I'm in Dominica, I've not seen many of these. But when I grew up, we had the annual bazaars, for our community, where people came together to raise funds towards a particular project.
Renovation of the cathedral began in 2011.
I think what is most important right now is the upcoming project, which is the actual covering of the roof. We have the frame up, and we have been expecting the roof material for almost a year now. We hope that within maybe later this month or next month, we should get the material. And once that is received and the project begins, within 3-4 months maybe, it will be covered. And once it is covered, then we do all the finishing works, like the flooring, the windows, the sides, the replacement of the choir loft, the replacement of the organ, the bell tower. It's a lot of work to be done still. But in my estimation, I would like to complete the project by mid-2018.
That's news. Kenny Williams is next with your sports highlights.
Onto track and field, where the Bahamian crowd at Rio was in celebration mode when Shanae Miller won a dramatic gold medal in the women's 400-meter final. In a thrilling finish, Miller stumbled and then dived across the finish line as she edged out American world champion Allison Felix to win in 49.44 seconds. Felix took silver in 49.51 seconds, with Jamaica's Sharika Jackson coming in third. Meantime, coach of the Dominican squad at the Olympics, Godwin Dorsett, says although Dominica didn't get the preferred result at the Games, there is still hope for the future.
I believe in TL4, Dominica has a very good competitor. And given the right atmosphere, the right attention, I believe she has it to go to take us further in the Games. Jordanis has taken us before, and although being qualified for the Games, but he has an injury, which I believe he needs to attend very seriously if he have to continue his athletics career. So, and that is the situation with us today.
Next up, playoff action continues in the 2016 DABA League with 2 games on Wednesday. Margot women will be coming up against 767 SC Lady Ballers at 7. At 9, the Police will be chasing down the Raiders for the win. The games are set for Lindo Park. On the football scene, Arizona boys defeated Spartans 3-0 in the TTW Beach football tournament. Sand Pirates joined them with a 3-1 win against Spartans. Signman beat Arizona boys 2-1 and had a 1-all draw against Party Boys. You can catch more of that football action at the Layu Beach on the weekend. Next up, athletes from around the island gathered for a day of competition as part of the 15th staging of the Special Olympic Games. President of the local association, Ainsworth Irish, says Sunday's games help the athletes improve on their skills.
Claudia Shipley is here this afternoon. He got quite a few medals. Also, we have Stephanie Laron with us and a number of other athletes. I can't recall the name offhand. They have been doing very well, and we can only hope that this will serve as a springboard so that we can continue to go from stage to stage.
Meantime, 2 people were recognized for their dedicated service to the sport.
Today, we awarded 2 special persons. First of all, we awarded Martha Wilson. Martha Wilson has been here with Special Olympics from 1988 since the inception. She got an award this morning and a nice food basket. Compliments HHV Whitchurch. Also, our national director who is retiring, Kamel Eger. She's been there for 28 years. She was received an accolade also.
27 athletes participated in the event at Botanic Gardens. In rounders, RIC Health Club and St. Joe Phoenix finished with over 200 run wins each in action from the 2016 Giant Malt League. RIC beat Fantastic Stars by 280 runs. RIC finished on 497 for 4. Rhoda Alexander top scoring with 212. Fantastic Stars were all out on 217. St. Joe Phoenix scored 458 for 5 to beat NCC Udom-Setco Stars by 219 runs. Stars replied with 239. ACS South Defenders recorded a 6-wicket win over Rising Stars. Defenders made 246 for 5, while Rising Stars had 240 for 6. Wharton Waven Stunners won against Gallion Heatwaves with 4 wickets in hand. Stunners reached 309 for 7 and Gallion 307. Maxroy Royal Challengers defeated Dublin Almond Stars by 4 wickets. Stars reached 324 against Royal Challengers 329 for 7. Vikings Reformers reached 378 for 10 versus Matadors 303 for 10. And Stowe & Co. hard hitters bested Mafia Battlers by 1 wicket. Finally, in sports, the Dominica A played the Dominica B team, where A won the game 25-7, and St. Lucia won 28-8 against Anguilla in the 13 and under regional invitational netball competition on Monday. That's all the sporting highlights for now. I am Kenny Williams. Be sure to join us tomorrow.
And the weather report is next.
Good evening, viewers. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am Janelle Macpherson. A high-pressure system was the dominant feature today, resulting in generally fair weather conditions across the island chain. Visible satellite imagery showed some low-level clouds across Dominica this afternoon. Partly cloudy to cloudy skies were observed today. Radar imagery indicated some shower activity across Dominica this afternoon. The weather for tonight, fair to partly cloudy, slightly hazy with some brief scattered showers. By tomorrow, a tropical wave is expected to move across the area, resulting in mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers, and possible isolated thunderstorms. Persons in areas prone to flooding, landslides, and falling rocks are advised to be vigilant and to exercise caution. Seas tomorrow moderate, with waves peaking up to 7 feet. Looking ahead for the next 3 days, Wednesday, a tropical wave will result in cloudiness, scattered showers, and possible isolated thunderstorms. By Thursday and Friday, fair to partly cloudy skies, hazy and breezy conditions with some brief scattered showers are expected. Throughout the Caribbean tomorrow, the tropical wave will produce cloudiness and shower activity across the islands. However, possible isolated thunderstorms are expected across only the northern to central portion of the region. On the international cities forecast, clear skies in New York and London, partly cloudy conditions in Caracas, possible thunderstorm activity in Miami, and rain expected in Beijing. Sunrise tomorrow at 5:51 a.m. and sunset at 6:28 p.m. We are in the hurricane season, so please stay up to date with weather information. Visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and have a good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. China places import restrictions on cargo from Dominica in an attempt to keep Zika out. Dominica's next police chief could be a non-national. And the Justin Padipe Medical Center selected for a Best Hospital Award. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNewsAugust16th2k16. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I'm Idonus Baptist. To all our viewers around the world, thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.